Everybody, Professor Snart checking in as we finish up Unit 6 on November 6th, which is Thursday when I'm recording this. And we turn around now to our first essay, which is a combined Unit 7-8, but it's really all just one unit for us. It made sense to condense a couple of things that were otherwise sort of stretched out in the 16-week format into just one essay here. So we now notice have a much longer time, at least relatively speaking in our course, a week from start to finish here. And so clearly the week, or that extra time, is designed for you to be able to invest more time, not just in writing the essay, but in doing some of the prep work too. So I'm going to look at this unit here and kind of walk us through what's going on. Keep in mind too that essay number 1 isn't really a new thing for us. Yes, it's the first essay we're writing, but it's actually your opportunity to bring kind of holistically a number of component parts together that we've looked at before, whether it's using database stuff, citing things, developing individual paragraphs. Now, of course, you're just building that into a full-blown essay. We've looked at thesis statements, topic sentences, effective integration. We've actually covered a lot of fairly small kinds of things, and now we're just looking to bring them together in a full essay. So it's important to keep in mind that the essay is not some totally new territory that we're entering into. It's actually, if anything, it's sort of a review of where we've been, just in a much more, like I said, holistic kind of way. So you'll see that the essay assignment is listed down here in the last folder. But part of what that extra time is for is so that you can make sure that you're working through the content of the course. So we start with some sample essays. They're not by any means perfect, but this is assigned work for the course. You need to take a look at each of these sample essays. And the nice thing is that they open in their own kind of window here. And it's not just a bunch of text you've got to read through. It's sort of a guided reading. There's the text of the essay, but also audio annotation. So there's me talking. There's little notes that you'll see pop up about things that are effective or maybe areas that could be improved. So don't just skip through these and get to writing your own essay. Again, what the essay that you're writing is designed to show me is that you've engaged with the content for the course. So if I can see, because of the mistakes that you're making, that you haven't paid attention to these samples or read through other material associated with either this folder, like this, or this unit, or previous units that we've looked at, again, it's as simple in some ways. It's not a sort of gray area or everyone has their own interpretation of things. It's as simple as 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is the content. That's what we learn. We learn the answer is 4, and now I kind of ask you that question. Can you show me that you've learned that? Obviously, the concepts for us are much more complicated than that, but the class is really designed to be as simple as possible in the sense that you're seeing the concepts laid out. There's examples, literally sample essays here. Now, can you produce your own that kind of mirrors those strategies? So work through the sample essays. There's no quiz associated with these. The quiz really just is essay number 1. That's where I look to see if you've understood what's going on. Obviously, works cited and research is really important for us. There's a walkthrough for using databases, walkthrough for creating a works cited page here, not just the individual entries, but the whole sort of page itself. So again, when I open up your essay document, I scroll right to the end and look for that works cited. Not because it's the end-all and be-all of that essay or I'm uninterested in the content necessarily, but because this is the clearest way I can see, right? If you haven't even used the word works cited, or the formatting is all wrong for the entries or for the page itself, I mean, it shows that you haven't invested even just a couple of minutes in watching this video, right? Let alone taking a look at our citation page here or folder area, for how to do in-text basics, for the sample PDF that I've got here, for how do you cite the whole page, or how do you format the whole page, right? That's the content for our course that I'm now looking for in the essay in this assessment device. So nothing new, notice, right? We've already been through a lot of this before. I'm just looking for, can we bring it together in a nice holistic kind of essay? Okay, so let's look then at the assignment itself. Oh, there is a quick note then that after this unit, after unit 7/8, we get into unit 9, which is really the last piece of our course, and the reading that we attend to in that one is Death of a Salesman, pretty famous play. In our textbook, it's a little bit longer, so just a little heads up here that if you want to start reading now or early, that would be a good idea. Our main focus, though, is the essay assignment. So we take a quick look as Blackboard thinks about whether it wants to let us in or not. Ah, ta-da. All right, so there's a bunch of kind of reminder things here. Some simple like no I voice. We're writing directly, in that sort of academic formal tone. More obvious things, right? MLA formatting, works cited pages are really, really important for us. 1102 is kind of the research course, so ethically, in a lot of ways, I can't pass you out of the class if you're making major mistakes in that kind of stuff. Even though that has nothing to do with the content of your writing, I get that, but it's still a major, major part of what we're needing to accomplish in English 1102. A couple of other reminders, and then this very sort of dark but also humorous little video from, it's a Lego version. I mean, why is everything funnier when it's Lego? I don't know. A Lego version from a pretty famous moment in one of the Indiana Jones movies. I'll let you figure out how he chooses wisely here, but the point, although slightly more drastic in the movie, I'll admit, is that I need you to choose wisely too in terms of using your time effectively. So I've given you the extra time between the due dates here. I need to see that you've used that effectively, not just put things off even longer, and now at the last minute you cobble together an essay, it has all these problems. You get a bad grade, problem with not much comments from me, because if you're not going to invest the time in the essay, I'm not going to invest the time in reteaching all of this stuff in comments. So it's really not a happy situation for anybody, right? Okay, on that positive note, let's look at the assignment itself. You're writing an essay, a relatively short one, honestly, 3 to 4 pages, so we're not talking about some 10, 12-page research paper. We're focused on close reading of one literary work we've read so far, so we're not trying to connect a bunch of different works together. We're looking for depth of reading in just one work, and you're incorporating one secondary source. Pretty manageable. Just another note here, Sherman Alexie's Flight Patterns is a really interesting story to write about. It has lots of interesting themes and characters, but very practically speaking, it has like very few, if any, good secondary sources through the databases that we have access to. So it just presents this kind of practical obstacle in terms of what we have to write. So I kind of caution against that one. It's not an ideal story to write about for our purposes here. You're responding to one of the 3 prompts here, so you're not trying to do all of them, obviously. Thematic, so role of stereotypes or expectations. The idea of setting in a work, so think of Boys and Girls as a really good example here, how setting is used to communicate the theme of like gender and gender roles and expectations in terms of like the outside is very much the male space, inside is very much the female space. So she uses setting as a tool to sort of communicate that thematic idea to us. And then the invitation to talk about the theme of change, or what you might call initiation. So you'll notice lots of overlap between these themes. They show up, in just about everything we've read. And of course, that's not coincidental. I've chosen the readings, I've chosen the questions here to give you lots of options to work with. As we've looked at, right from Unit 6, so again, this is not new stuff. You're just showing me again that you can do this. Your secondary source needs to be relevant and appropriate. So it's from a database. It's not just Googled somehow or from the web. And it's relevant. It's a direct discussion of the primary text, of the short story that you're talking about. It's not just related to like a sort of tangential idea of initiation or of childhood or of growing up or of whatever the case might be. It has to be that direct discussion of the work. There's reminders towards the bottom then about the works cited page, and I'll even sort of walk you through again our library page, the citing sources link. Obviously, we want to make sure we're using MLA, right? Anything from our book is an article chapter from an edited book. If you use Boys and Girls as the short story, which is fine, treat it as if it were from our book. I know I had to provide it as a PDF. It has its own page numbers, which is good, but just imagine that it's from our textbook. So when you're building the works cited entry, right, treat it from our book. So all of the book title, editor, publication stuff, that's from our textbook. Journal article from a database, everyone's going to have one of these. So again, it's really not a matter of interpretation or subjective. It's like, did the person follow the formatting? Yes, no. It's pretty simple for me. Okay, so you have extra time. There's lots of material to work through before you really get to writing the essay. Be conscious of writing process, so you're not just jumping in to try to produce the essay. Maybe you're doing an outline, writing down some important quotes from the story. You maybe find your database source and see what it has to say before you get too far. So there's no perfect process that I'm telling you to do, but be aware of what your process is and is it effective? Do you have things in like a logical order? And of course, not news, time management, right? Okay, so this is a good time to remind you, if you have any questions or concerns, to be in touch with me. Confident writing is always better than writing where the writer is sort of questioning, or am I doing this right? And then you sort of never quite get to the point, but you make a whole bunch of half points because you're not really sure, and it just doesn't work too well. So any questions or concerns, by all means, be in touch with me.